All right, I'm Alex Atallah. I'm the CTO of OpenSea, which is a marketplace for non-fungible tokens. And I'm going to talk to you guys about a couple smart contracts that you might not have heard of. Most people in this space work on one smart contract. Well, trying to advance the slide. Oh, OK. So most people in the space are building projects and companies and games around one type of smart contract that CryptoKitties pioneered back in 2017, the ERC 721. So these are a couple examples. My Crypto Heroes, Codex, Gods Unchained, Kitty Talismans. These are all single items that can be owned by a single person. It's just like an everyday good. Let me try moving to the other side. Okay. So by the numbers, non-fungible tokens are doing really well. OpenSea is about 14 million collectibles, has done about $12 million in volume, and we have over 3,000 projects, and tons launch every single week. ERC 721 is by far the dominant type of contract. Generally, the way games work and the way these individual tokens work is when they launch on OpenSea, games are pooling their users together. So real power users from the best games in the previous quarter will discover your game when you launch on OpenSea and start powering up the market. We tend to see the best and healthiest economies get started by the power users of the previous economies. And economies are just iterative. They build on each other, one after the other. It's not a single economy. It's hundreds of economies all working together, and they each kind of evolve in tandem with each other. And this is kind of how that evolution has worked over the past year. Most activity right now is in gaming, but we have a problem with individual ERC 721 non-fungible tokens. And that's that it's very difficult to manage them en masse. Here's an example of something that OpenSea started called bundles. You can bundle a bunch of items together and sell them in one transaction. But at the time I wrote this slide, the gas limit was 8 million gas. So that means in Ethereum, only so many computations are allowed, only so many things can happen in a single transaction, which means that only 25 to 30 tokens can be sold in a bundle. And this just doesn't work for a lot of games. Some card decks are bigger than 30, and some users want to sell their entire wallets. Some users really want to buy someone's entire wallet, and you just can't do that yet with 721s. So now, enter semi-fungible tokens. This is the first of several types that I'll talk about today. Semi-fungible tokens just means that, unlike non-fungibles, one item can be owned by multiple people. And one owner could own multiple copies of the same item. So it's similar to a currency, except one single smart contract can define tons of currencies, tons of fungible goods. And this is kind of what it looks like on OpenSea when you're about to sell one. So you pick the price you want and the number of units you want to sell for, and without paying any gas, you can sell. So ERC 1155 is the main standard for semi-fungibles. One token can be owned by multiple addresses, like I just said. There are three main companies pioneering the standard: Engine, Horizon, Peter's in the back there doing Horizon, and the Sandbox. They're here too. Sebastian, I think, is on the top floor. And there are 20 plus games on OpenSea that are working on it. And you get a marketplace too. So here's an example of a tweet about an 1155 marketplace that launched on OpenSea. So, little aside, there's kind of a subtype of sub-fungibles called multi-fungibles. And that's where the smart contracts defines some tokens as non-fungible and some tokens as fungible. I'm not going to go into detail, but come find me if you're interested in that one. It's not common at all. Last but not least, something that OpenSea has started was factory contracts, which is a new type of smart contract that lets you deploy a presale without paying any gas. In other words, create a ton of items on auction on OpenSea without actually creating the items. Instead, the buyer creates the items for you. This allows you to basically run a Kickstarter for free. And you can set it up to make it instant, customizable. You get an automatic secondary marketplace that pops right off your presale contract. You can set your own fees for secondary sales. They don't all go to OpenSea. OpenSea actually takes a super tiny %. The game developer can choose their fee for all secondary sales, and the game developer gets the whole primary sale fee. And lastly, you get lots of stats, market insights, and instant integration with our rankings and all of the other exploration tools that we provide. So this has been used a ton. Lots of developers have done initial sales in OpenSea. A couple developers have used factory contracts to do their own pre-sales. And they're all built on open protocols and standards. You can use the same metadata standards that you use for your tokens to use for your factory contracts, to use for pre-sales. It's very easy to set up, and we do really, really real-time support. You can chat with us and get answers back in minutes or hours. We're very active on Discord, but also Telegram and email. This is kind of an example of what Marketdale looks like, totally irrelevant to my talk right now. And the big overarching concept here is a shared revenue model. So we want to earn only when you earn. We don't charge up front for pre-sales. There's no do a deal with OpenSea, pay OpenSea some money so that you can be on our site kind of thing. We don't do that. We only get money when your things sell, and vice versa. So, overall, the space has come a long way. Come find us upstairs in the far corner if you have questions.